The other threat that we face in this regard is where will the money for trade and development go? How is it to be allocated? Will the bulk of it, the threat is that the bulk of it might well go to Europe as opposed to the Western Hemisphere. And if that turns out to be the case, then we would not have benefited to the extent that we would have liked to. And I would like to submit to my colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that these are matters that are worthy of the attention of heads of government as we meet here in Port of Spain for this 5th Summit of the Americas. And as we do so, it is important that we take note of the special circumstances of the small states of the Caribbean. There are a number of states in the Eastern Caribbean, independent countries, whose independence was predicated on an economic model that anticipated preferential market access, especially to Europe, and non-reciprocity in the terms of trade. With the signing of the recent EPA with Europe, both those things have disappeared. And even as some countries have sought to diversify their sources of economic activity into the tourism industry, we find that the events of 9/11 adversely affected all of them. And today, as recession has hit the world, we find that these countries are once again adversely affected. Their tourism industries are adversely affected. Some of them, my dear friends, have moved in the direction of tax havens, and that too is under threat. The question, therefore, is this: what is the future? What is the future of the small states in the Caribbean that find themselves in this most unfortunate position? And I would like to submit again that this is a matter that is worthy of the attention of heads as we meet here in Port of Spain. And then we have the accident of geography. The Caribbean, located as it is between the producing countries of the South and the consuming countries of the North, we talk about drugs. And as the drugs pass through these countries on a transshipment basis in the first place, the guns that accompany them don't leave, the guns stay, and sometimes the service is paid for in drugs, creating a job problem in your own countries, the countries in the Caribbean, and the proliferation of guns leading to an increase in crime in many of these countries. So we end up with a drug problem and a crime problem. Not of our making, but that is the reality of life in the Caribbean today. Indeed, the crime problem is so acute, my dear friends, that in a recent UN report, it was argued that if the levels of crime in Haiti and in Jamaica could be reduced to the level of crime in San Jose, Costa Rica, then both Haiti and Jamaica are likely to undergo an increase of about 5.4 percentage points in their GDP. Not insignificant at all. And I assure you that the problem is not restricted to Jamaica and Haiti alone, Trinidad and Tobago and so many others. How are we to deal with this? And more than that, ladies and gentlemen, you have the question of terrorism that is now raising its head in the region, not purely on the basis of the drug culture, but also some of it imported from outside of the region. The details need not detain us at this time. And that it is becoming clearer to us that in the Western Hemisphere we need to know who is going where and who is doing what. We need an advanced passenger information system as one important step in seeking to address this matter. I submit, my dear friends, that this is a matter that is worthy of the attention of heads as we meet here in Port of Spain. And then we have education. To educate is to emancipate. So many of our citizens, right through the hemisphere of 800 million people, so many of them are neither in school nor at work, not exposed to education, nor gainfully employed to look after themselves and their families, and all that goes with that. How we treat with this matter is a question that we can discuss. and is a question that is worthy of our attention. And at the same time, we have the healthcare problem, peculiar not just to developing countries, a problem with which the United States of America is now grappling. The old arrangements whereby we seek to cure whatever ailments arise has been financial resources to healthcare, and that even if we are able to do that, which is highly questionable in the first place, then a point will be reached where the demand is so great for financial resources that it will be beyond the capability of countries to provide it. That whole paradigm has to change, and more attention is being turned to prevention, as it must, and to the non-communicable diseases, which are the greatest contributors now to a prejudicing of our health position and deaths in the Western Hemisphere. That is a matter that we can discuss. My dear friends, in Canada, United States, Mexico, Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, Ecuador, Colombia, Bolivia, Brazil, Argentina. All of these countries are countries that are significant producers of oil and gas. And when you look at the resources of all of these countries combined, those resources are enough to guarantee the level of energy security to which all countries in the region aspire. But that can only be the case if proper relations exist among the countries one to the other. And if that is not the case, my dear friends, then the anticipated level of energy security will not be available to us. And the nuclear option becomes more attractive and all that goes with that. So that what may have started off as a difficulty in the domestic energy balance can end up as a question of international concern involving the possible proliferation of nuclear weapons. That is a matter, my dear friends, that we can discuss. And then there's Cuba. All of us, my dear friends, would like to see a proper reintegration of Cuba into the institutions of the Western Hemisphere. Recent announcements by the President of the United States, including the announcements this evening, are cause for great optimism. We look forward to the day, and I look forward to the day, when Cuba can take its rightful place among its colleagues in the hemisphere. And so, my dear friends, it will be a mistake if we allowed any one issue to dominate our deliberations. So many important matters are on the agenda. It will be a tragedy if we allow any one issue to be a great source of discord among us. And it will be an error of existential proportions if we are not able to conduct our business on the basis of cordiality and mutual respect. And let it not be said of us that we failed our people in their hour of need because we lack the maturity and good sense to conduct our business in a rational and objective manner. And let, my dear friends, let this 5th Summit of the Americas be the first in a new approach that heralds in the Western Hemisphere the dawn of a newer and brighter and better day. God bless you all.
Thank you to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and Chairman of the 5th Summit of the Americas, the Honourable Patrick Manning.